Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about social media and marriage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, interesting combination, right? But
Pretty interesting.
it all comes from a YouTube video that one of our listeners sent in,
Okay.
featuring two English language learners.
Yeah. Right.
Now,
I'm intrigued.
and now you might be thinking, like, what can we glean
What
from
could we possibly learn?
a video like that?
Right.
But it's all about kind of these like cultural insights and
Yeah.
nuances.
The different perspectives, right?
Yeah,
That we might not otherwise encounter.
exactly.
And I think that's what's so valuable about this video.
So they start off talking about their experiences with social media, and
Okay.
it turns out they share a concern that a lot of us have, which is just spending way too much time on it.
Too much time scrolling.
Yeah. Veronica actually mentions a friend, Anna, who failed an exam because she got distracted by social media.
Oh, no.
Have you ever had like a similar
Oh, gosh, all the time.
experience?
Yeah, where you just get sucked in
Yes,
and completely lose track of what you were supposed to be doing.
totally. And, they go on to even talk about how this like constant connectivity
Right.
is impacting society as a whole.
That's a big one.
And they're really kind of questioning, like,
Yeah.
are all these online interactions really adding value to our lives, or
Good question.
are we just getting lost in this endless scroll?
Yeah, are we just kind of numbing ourselves out?
Yeah, and it makes me think about, all the times that I just find myself
Yeah.
mindlessly scrolling through my feed,
Right, just on autopilot.
and I'm not really getting anything from it.
Exactly. You're not really engaging with it. You're
Yeah.
just consuming.
So they actually propose a social media revolution.
Ooh, a revolution.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's like this idea that we need to be more intentional with how we use social media
Okay.
and kind of reclaim our time and attention.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a growing awareness, right, of the potential downsides of social media
Totally.
and this idea that we need to be more in control
Yeah.
of our digital lives.
Like, it's not about abandoning it entirely,
right.
but it's using it in a way that aligns with our
Yeah.
values and goals.
Exactly.
And they even have some practical strategies like setting time limits
Time limits. I like that.
or taking breaks
Breaks are good too.
from social media,
Yeah, just to kind of reset.
which I think a lot of us
Mm-hmm.
could benefit from.
Absolutely.
And, it's interesting because those strategies really tie into
Yeah.
the psychology of habit formation,
Totally.
right? Like, setting limits helps break that cycle
Mm-hmm.
of automatic behavior.
Yeah, we're so used to just reaching for our phones
Right.
without even thinking about it.
And taking those breaks allows our brains to kind of reset
Right.
and re-engage with the real world.
Exactly.
It's not just about willpower.
Yeah, it's about understanding how our minds work.
It makes me realize, like, I need to be more strategic about my own social media habits.
I think we all do.
And they also touch on the idea of using social media more positively,
Okay.
like following inspiring accounts or educational accounts.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
Instead of just doom scrolling all the time.
Right. And I think it's a reminder that we do have some agency
Absolutely.
in shaping our online experience.
We can curate our feeds
Yeah.
to reflect our interests and priorities.
And, engage with content that enriches our lives.
Hmm.
So we've been talking about social media's influence on our daily choices.
Okay.
But now things are going to take a fascinating turn
All right.
because Robin and Veronica jump into this pretty heated debate
Ooh, a debate.
about one of the biggest decisions in life,
Okay. Lay it on me.
marriage.
Okay.
And this is where the cultural differences really come to the forefront.
I'm fascinated.
So we have Veronica, who firmly believes in arranged marriages.
Arranged marriages. Okay. And then we have Robin, who is like a strong advocate for love marriages.
Okay, so a real clash of perspectives.
Total clash.
Interesting.
So Veronica, her arguments for arranged marriages are really rooted in tradition and family values.
Okay.
And she believes that families are better equipped to assess compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
And she even sees it as a way to ensure a more stable foundation
Okay.
for a lasting relationship.
Interesting.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's important to understand that arranged marriages in many cultures
Yeah.
aren't about forcing individuals into loveless unions.
Right.
It's often seen as like a collaborative process where families consider factors beyond just romantic love, like shared values,
Yeah.
economic stability, social standing.
A couple picture.
Yeah, it's about the well-being of the entire family unit,
Okay.
not just the individual couple.
That's helpful to kind of reframe that.
Yeah.
Because I think we have a lot of like preconceived notions
Yeah. for sure.
about arranged marriages.
Absolutely.
It makes me think about how different cultures really do
Yes.
prioritize different factors
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to finding a partner.
Exactly.
So then we have Robin on the other side.
Okay.
He is passionately defending the freedom of choice
Okay.
inherent in love marriages.
All right.
He's arguing that individuals should have the autonomy to choose their own partners
Mm-hmm.
based on personal connection and love.
Yeah, making your own decisions
Yeah.
about your life.
And he makes a valid point about the importance of individual agency
Right.
and self-determination.
Especially in modern societies
Yes.
that emphasize those individual rights
Exactly.
and freedoms.
So he believes that the deep personal connection that's formed
Okay.
in a love marriage can create a stronger foundation
Mm-hmm.
for overcoming challenges in a marriage.
Yeah. Weathering the storms together.
And he also highlights, the potential downsides of arranged marriages.
Right.
It's like where individuals feel pressured or coerced
Yeah, that's a key point.
into these unions
Right.
that they don't genuinely support.
Exactly.
And the risk of incompatibility
Yeah.
and unhappiness.
If that personal connection isn't there.
Yeah. But Ronica doesn't just sit back
Yeah.
and let Robin kind of steal the show.
Okay.
She counters his points
Right?
with a real-life example
Okay.
from her own life that really made me stop and think.
Oh, I'm curious.
So she talks about her friend whose life was deeply impacted
Okay.
by a painful breakup.
Ah, I see.
And it really illustrates her perspective on the
Lots.
perceived stability
Yeah.
of arranged marriages.
Okay.
So she sees them as a way to kind of mitigate the emotional risks
Mm,
and potential for heartbreak
right.
that can come with love marriages.
Interesting.
And what I found so fascinating about this whole exchange
Yeah.
is that both Ronica and Robin acknowledge the complexities of marriage
Mm-hmm.
and agree that there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
That's fair.
They both brought such valuable perspectives to
Yeah.
the table,
I like.
and they ultimately respected each other's views,
Yeah,
even though they held contrasting opinions,
that's great.
which I thought was really
Mm-hmm.
wonderful.
Yeah, definitely.
I see.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great example of how open and honest dialogue can help bridge those cultural divides.
Totally.
Even if we don't agree with someone's views, just understanding where they're coming from is so important.
Absolutely. And it makes me think about, how my own cultural background
Yeah.
has shaped my views on relationships.
Right. And I think that's a key takeaway for anyone listening.
Yeah.
How much do our own upbringing and cultural norms influence
Mhm.
our perceptions of love and marriage and, even what constitutes a successful partnership?
Totally. And it makes me wonder,
Yeah,
are these cultural influences becoming more or less prominent
that's a great question.
in a world that's increasingly interconnected?
Right. With globalization and the internet.
Yeah.
It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
On the one hand, the internet and social media, they expose us to
Yeah.
a wider range of perspectives and relationship models
Well,
than ever before.
We're seeing more intercultural relationships
Exact.
and traditional norms are being challenged.
For sure.
But at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
our cultural roots run deep.
They do.
Our families, our communities, the stories we've grown up with,
Right.
they continue to shape our values and beliefs,
Absolutely.
even if we're not always aware of it.
It's like the subconscious programming almost.
Yeah. And speaking of societal expectations, something Ronica said about arranged marriages
Okay.
really stuck with me.
Yeah. What was that?
She mentioned that families often consider factors beyond just personal preferences,
Mm-hmm.
like compatibility,
Mm-hmm.
family background, shared values.
Right. It's not just about matching people up
Yeah.
based on superficial criteria.
Right.
There's a lot of thought that goes into the process.
Yeah.
Families are really acting as matchmakers to ensure the long-term well-being of the couple.
It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
in a way, are those families kind of acting like
Like what?
the algorithms we were talking about with social media?
Oh, interesting comparison.
They're both kind of trying to match us with something that's supposedly best for us.
Right, based on these certain factors
Yeah.
and preferences.
And just like with arranged marriages,
Yeah.
where, individuals might feel pressured
Mm-hmm.
to conform to those family expectations,
Yeah,
we can also feel pressured to conform to the norms
absolutely.
and values that are promoted by social media.
Like all the influencers and trends we see
Yeah.
can really shape our desires and
Right.
aspirations.
So it's like,
It's important to be aware of those influences
yeah,
and make conscious choices
totally.
about what we're consuming.
What are some strategies we can use to kind of stay grounded
That's a good question.
and true to ourselves?
Well, I think it all starts with self-awareness.
Okay.
Taking a step back, reflecting on our own values and beliefs, understanding where they come from,
No.
and how they might be influenced by
Yeah.
our culture and upbringing.
And what about communication?
Communication is key.
Do you think open and honest communication with our partners,
Absolutely.
our families,
Yes.
even ourselves, can help us navigate those expectations?
It's about creating those safe spaces for dialogue, where we can share our perspectives,
Yeah.
listen to understand, and respect those differences.
Even when we don't agree.
Even when we don't agree,
Yeah.
it's through those open conversations
Right.
that we can build bridges,
Yeah.
challenge assumptions,
Okay.
and find that common ground.
We've covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
from the potential pitfalls of social media to those diverse cultural perspectives on marriage.
Right.
It's been a fascinating journey into the intricate web of human connection
It really has.
and the forces that shape our choices and relationships.
A true deep dive.
Yeah.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
I know.
These are complex issues with layers upon layers of nuance and meaning.
But I think one of the biggest takeaways for me
Yeah.
is the importance of being curious,
Absolutely.
open-minded,
Yes.
and willing to engage with different perspectives,
Even if they challenge our own.
even if they challenge our own. Yeah, it's been a really thought-provoking deep dive.
It has been.
We've talked about, the potential downsides of social media,
Yeah.
the whole clash between arranged and love marriages, and really how our cultural backgrounds influence our views.
It's amazing how those topics are kind of all interconnected, right?
Yeah.
It says a lot about how we make choices
Totally.
and how we form relationships in this crazy world.
And before we wrap up, I wanted to touch on something that's been on my mind
Yeah.
throughout this conversation, and it's this idea of intentionality.
Oh, intentionality. I like that.
So we talked about being more intentional with our social media use.
Right. Setting those limits. Yeah. Being mindful of what we're looking at. Exactly. Making sure it aligns with our values.
But I think that same principle applies to way more than just our online lives.
Oh, I totally agree.
It makes me think about Robin and Ronica's debate about arranged versus love marriages.
Yeah.
Even though they have totally different cultural backgrounds and contrasting views,
Mm-hmm.
what stood out to me was their emphasis on finding a partner
Yes.
who aligns with their values
Their goals.
and goals. It's not about blindly following tradition or rebelling against it.
Right.
It's about making choices that feel right for you,
Authentic.
authentic and aligned with who you are
What you're looking for.
and what you want in a relationship.
100%.
So whether you're meeting people through family or through a dating app, that intentionality can really guide us towards a more fulfilling partnership.
I think that's such a great message for everyone listening.
Yeah.
No matter where they are in life.
It's about taking ownership of those choices.
Yes.
And being mindful of the forces that shape our perception
Of decisions.
and decision.
Absolutely.
And realizing that there's no one right answer.
No.
Like what works for one person or culture
Right.
might not work for another, and that's totally okay.
It's about finding what works for you
Exactly.
and approaching these big life decisions
Yeah.
with curiosity,
Openness.
openness, and that intentionality.
This has been a great deep dive,
It has been.
exploring culture, connection, and choices.
It was a privilege to dive deep with you
Likewise.
and with our listeners.
Yes. Thank you all for listening.
Until next time.
Keep exploring, keep questioning.
And keep those deep dives going.
We'll see you soon.